Hello my boils, my ghouls, and my zools. Welcome back to Kalash. I'm John. So today we're going to be talking about a little bit of dry fire training and how I've had to adjust my technique a little bit since the little incident I had, and the differences I had since the little season I set up, being able to go to the range regularly and then coming home and having to do dry fire drills regularly. So we're going to talk about what I identified I needed to work on and how I've tried to correct that. I made a commitment this year to really iron out a few of the kinks in the chain, get my scores a little better, and see if we could just do a little better overall at some of these matches. And I kind of felt like I hit a wall when I got back, because there was definitely a stark difference in how I was performing when I got back. Basically what I'm getting at is the difference being able to go to the range regularly and then coming back having a little bit where I wasn't able to go to the range, and I just did a couple local matches and then the Sons of Liberty shoot, which I still hadn't been practicing that whole month, and adopting a few dry fire drills at home that really helped to iron out a few of the things I'd been working on and gave me a couple other things I needed to work on that aren't too big of a deal now. So I hit the range real hard in summer and then went to California for Red Labor, and then up to Wisconsin for Thunder on the Tundra, and then back to Texas for Kalash Bash, over to Boulder City, Nevada for Red October, and then had a couple local matches where I wasn't going to the range anymore, and that was my only practice, was those local matches. And then I did the Sons of Liberty shoot with about 1 or 2 days at the range total. Yeah, come to think of it, I just went to the range and double checked my zero at 25 yards, which was not appropriate for Sons of Liberty whatsoever, and it really ate my lunch, and it really showed. And I mean, honestly, one of the reasons I didn't make a whole Sons of Liberty video was because a lot of the stages were very similar to Kalash Bash, especially the ones I got on film. And I mean, the ones I didn't were more applicable to what I'm talking about today, so you know, it's a little easier to just include that footage here today, because I just wanted to identify some of the mistakes I had been making, and I actually saw mistakes that I made twice in a row on the same stages. So it was a lot more applicable to talk about the kinks I've been trying to get out, and then what I've been doing since I haven't been able to get to the range to actually work those out. One thing was adopting a few dry fire drills at home to do regularly since I haven't been able to get to the range, and that's really helped out a lot.
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt!
It's really helped the raw times quite a bit. And I mean, one of the other problems I have is just, you know, kind of turning that switch on when the beeper hits. So, you know, I've been trying to get that out, and that was really evidenced this weekend at Texas Kalashnikov. I mean, there was a stage where I started running up to shoulder, and, you know, I mean, I was just kind of like doing that little trot, and then I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Snap it on, man. And I just sped up and actually did the stage.
Passing it through its screen.
Faster.
You really should rehearse the stage and make a plan to execute, but you should be trained up on reactive shooting, because sometimes the plan doesn't go accordingly, and I did make that mistake quite a bit all season. You know, I had some pretty good times at some of the matches, but I could have got much better had I not made those stupid mistakes. So one thing is, the whole little season I set up, I actually did it with a 25-yard zero with a 5.45 gun, so that's no bueno. So after Sons of Liberty, I went and readjusted to a 50-yard zero, and now really my only problem is learning my point of impact and my holdovers. And honestly, that's been fine on distance. It's really just learning my point of impact when I'm close up and learning the height over bore. That was even evidenced definitely this weekend at Texas Kalashnikov, because pretty much all my shots came in at the belly line, and I mean, I was aiming definitely about the chest, so you know, that was a mistake. Should have aimed up a little higher, but at least the raw times were fine. And I mean, you know, at least I actually identified that whole, like, dude, turn that switch on, what are you doing, come on. I mean, you even saw me click it on, like, come on, let's go. 25-yard zero actually worked fine for all the matches I did, because even a lot of the long range stuff I had to do at these matches were man-sized targets, so I was able to find it. And you know, you saw me dance it a couple times, but really the only long range I really had to do was the 200 yards at Thunder on the Tundra. Other than that, a lot of it was close-up stuff, so the 25-yard zero worked out just fine at those matches. And then I go to Sons of Liberty, where there's actually some distance. One of the reasons I was probably able to hit so well at Kalash Bash was because I went to the range and I zeroed at somewhere around 35-40 yards or so. I just went out to the range and just kind of got one, you know? It was just like, let's go.
Turn it up, let's go!
Yeah. But that did not treat me well at Sons of Liberty. A big problem I have is movement and balance. I'm still kind of bumbly a little bit, and I've only really been competing a year, but that's one of the things I'm really trying to iron out. And I think I said in a last video before in the comments or something that I was going to share a DQ video, and that was actually at Sons of Liberty. So the plank stage they had at Kalash Bash where I kept falling off the planks, and I kept saying, oh my god, I have the worst balance.
Let's go! Hurry up! Not like that!
At Sons of Liberty, they had the same stage, and I stumbled getting onto one of the planks, and I broke the 180, and I froze, you know, that switch just kind of went off, and I was like, whoa. Did I just break the 180? And they didn't actually even catch it at first, and they were like,
Did I just break it?
yeah, actually you did. So instead of calling muzzle, they just, you know, thought about it for a second, and they're like, yeah, let's just, you know, DQ it. And I'm like, oh, that fucking sucks, but...
Bummer.
Move this man!
But at least it was in the middle of the day on the second day, so not a huge deal, you know, I only missed a couple stages. But it was overall a really fun match, but man, it ate my fucking lunch. I wasn't even really worried about the DQ, to tell you the truth. I mean, honestly, that stage was going just fine, and it's something I have constant trouble with. Really, what I was worried about is that long range stage, man. I got like 1 or 2 hits or something like that. It was terrible, dude. Oh my god. That match was one of my worst matches overall. And I mean, some of it was due to training, some of it was due to setup, so I had to iron those things out. So one of the ways I was able to iron that out was adopting a few dry fire drills in the backyard, a few movement drills, and getting my stance a little better, being able to take off from a run a little better. You know, and the contributions to learning about stuff like that definitely came from a couple people's tips talking about their different trainings, and it got me thinking. And I mean, I started reading up quite a bit and started, you know, watching a lot of YouTube videos and just absorbing fucking everything I possibly can, and just really came to a rounded, okay, this is what I need to work on, this is how I'm going to work on it. So I started with stance first, and that was just a real simple one, and just identifying what stance I need to use when, and that's part of that reactive thing, and that's something you can do in the backyard, definitely. Alright, I know the more experienced people know exactly what I'm talking about identifying problems and coming up with a few drills to iron them out. So really this is to reach some people that are more newer to AKs or newer to competing. So I'm over here in my little corner of the yard. I like to practice my 1-to-1s. So, grab a rifle. Let's make sure we are clear once again. We are clear. Let's make sure we got no rounds in any mags. clear. And that one's clear. A few of those backyard things you can work on that have really helped me are just things that I've honestly picked up from tips and researching different trainings, because I ain't gonna lie, I can't afford no training at the moment, so you know, you gotta figure it out. Now, what's one of those things I've had to figure out? One thing I noticed I've been having an issue with lately is stance, so I kind of redid my stance. Now, one thing you should definitely not do is take trainings and then go on YouTube and tell people all the techniques, because they're trying to make money off of these. But if you see, you know, 5-10 people that are better than you all doing the same thing and you're not doing it, you might want to take a look at that. Okay, so let me back up a little bit here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'd always been taught to do that old school stance of one foot in front of the other like you're gonna fight. There's nothing wrong with the stance, but you only have so much of a radius that you can shoot from. There's nothing wrong with the stance. You know, you lean in a little bit and you draw. And really shooting 5.45, especially with a compensator, it's like shooting a 22 sometimes. So you can take a different stance. You don't have to brace for so much of an impulse. So you can put your feet shoulder width, squat a little bit, lean in. There you go. Now you have much more range of motion and you can pivot much faster. And also, how I was saying, I was having some motion problems. Going too fast is a thing, so getting into a much more of a natural trot from that position is a lot easier. It's just way better. And really, that's something I started investigating after I saw probably about 5-10 different people doing it, and I wasn't doing it. And I'm like, yo, that's real useful, man. I'm not doing that stance. Why are they doing it and I'm not doing it? If you see 5 or 10 different people better than you doing something, maybe investigate why they're doing it and why you're not doing it. I mean, just right there, I was able to work out multiple problems I've been having all season just by changing up stance. So working in these one-to-ones. If you don't know what one-to-ones are, first thing you're going to do, check your rifle is clear. No rounds in the magazine. No rounds in the magazine you load up, obviously. And just double check, because you're not aiming this thing into a desk. Aim it somewhere safe, too. So you're going to take your stance. You're going to shoulder your rifle. You're going to start at low ready. And then you're going to bring your rifle up to your sight picture. Get your cheek weld. Click the trigger. Drop your mag. Grab a new mag. Insert. Charge, fire again. That's a one-to-one. So if you noticed, I dropped the mag first. That's something I've worked in. My usual reload goes a little something like this. I still did it with my thumb. I'm starting to get a little used to it. So like I said, that's something I've been working in lately, and you can work both of them into your reload routine. It'll get you used to both of them. Could be better, but that's why you keep practicing. And like I said, also working in those different charging routines. Now let me show you what I was talking about with the tight mag well on the Tantal and other AKs I have. You see how it kind of just drooped out? And this is just a standard everyday Tula Bakelite, so that shouldn't be drooping out like that, but it does. It's got a pretty tight mag well. It's Polish, so we mitigate that by pretty simple. So how I was saying, you could use a post or a tree or something like that if you really need to train. You're gonna have to use VTACs in matches and stuff like that, so if you don't have a VTAC in your backyard, it's not a right way to train on it. Plus, there are going to be those times when you have to run up and slam your rifle into a window well or something like that and start going long range. So it's pretty helpful with stuff like that. I'm just going to use this tree right here. It's not the most straight, but whatever, that's fine. So you just stick your rifle here. And it seems silly, but you keep your eye on the optic, shoulder it, and get your cheek weld every single time. You'll be fine, man. It actually is very helpful. It seems stupid. Lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. Does help. One thing it'll honestly help you do is stop you from getting too far in if you have to actually go through a port, so you don't catch your charging handle on anything, so you stop at the appropriate spot. Just slam in with your hand and stop it. And it's the same thing when you come around the other side. Bang it against a tree, put your thumb on the other side, hold it against it. It's just one of many techniques. It's the technique I use, it's the technique I was taught, it's the technique that works for me. So honestly, practicing stuff like that doesn't really matter what you practice on, but when you actually get to a VTAC and you have to actually work the thing, it is pretty helpful actually having to practice some spearing your rifle in and out and all that, because that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to, well, like I said, y'all, it's just some dry fire practice, nothing serious. It's just some stuff that you can go through every day, do for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it'll definitely improve your life. Even if you do it 15, 20 minutes every other day, every 2 days, getting in a habit of doing stuff like that really helps. It doesn't matter how dorky it looks, doesn't matter how dorky it feels. It's practice. You know, just setting up a little course, you know, it doesn't really matter whether it's with cones or, I mean, you could just put down random objects and that's your marker and just make a course and run it and just get your body used to the mechanics of stopping, starting, drawing your rifle up and, you know, firing. So like I said, one of my goals with this channel at times is to reach newer shooters and newer competitors, and I hope you found this useful. I hope you found this helpful. And if you're a seasoned shooter and you're just here following my journey, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the tips all of you have given me, because this is where I pick stuff like this up from. I mean, I don't have the money for training, so I'd rather go to matches, frankly. I mean, I probably should spend some of it on some training, but you know, we're gonna be doing a little bit of that this year. We're definitely going to be doing a little bit of that this year, so that's in the works. Probably doing some training videos and whatnot, and some drill videos and all of that like we used to do in the past. But I feel like I've hit a wall and I want to conquer that wall. So these are some of the tools I'm using to do it. But things like Google, YouTube, they're very helpful for picking up drills and tips and you know, stances and stuff like that, because I mean, like I said, when it comes to the stance thing, that's not something I just saw like, you know, 2 people doing. That's something I saw a lot of people doing, and quite a few of them had come from Center T, and you know, a lot of the people that were doing it also had definitely got it from people who got it from Center T. So I mean, so like I said, don't go out to trainings and then go on YouTube or Instagram or something and give away all the secrets or anything. Encourage people to go to the classes, because you know, that's what I'm gonna do this year. Definitely, I'm definitely inspired to go to the classes after checking out some of these techniques, because they are so helpful. And you know, I've had a little bit of training here and there, but that was many, many, many years ago. So again, if you guys are here picking up tips and you found this useful, you found this helpful, thank you so much for checking it out. And if you're here just following the journey, man, I love you guys. That's really cool of y'all. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. And I mean, honestly, if you got anything to add, put it in the comments. It's totally dope. And it's that time, boils, ghouls, and zools. So y'all stay safe, have fun, do stupid. Pretty simple.